So today's going to be a little bit different episode. Today I have Sharon on the podcast, and she is just doing a free health coaching call with me, and she was brave enough to share it all with you guys. So this is going to be split up into two parts because it was a long call and I like to keep my podcasts under 30 minutes. So this first part, we're really diving into her goals and into movement and even the process of how I do mindset work with clients. So maybe you can relate to gaining weight and losing weight and sort of yo-yoing and just feeling like it's really hard to start again. So I hope that you can relate to Sharon in this episode and just be able to have a few things to take away for yourself. Sort of see how I might look at things differently or ask certain questions that pull out the truth. And this is the same for anybody. And I encourage you that as you're listening to this podcast, if you've been feeling stuck or if you feel like you would benefit from health coaching and having someone on your side, someone asking the right questions to keep moving you forward, then set up a free coaching call with me. There's going to be a link in the description down below. I usually try to keep the free call to about 30 minutes and we'll go over your goals, your struggles, and really find out what is that missing piece. What do you need to do to get from where you are to where you want to be in a way that is sustainable? No quick fixes here. If you guys have been listening to this podcast, you know that. But really changing our mindset, changing our habits in a way that is sustainable. So if that's you, check the description down below and I would love to chat with you. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mama of 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. All right, so I'm so excited to have Sharon on the podcast today. She was kind enough to come on here so you guys can sort of see what health coaching is like, and you can also learn from her and her experiences because so many things that we are going through, someone else is too. All right. So welcome today, Sharon.
Thank you. Welcome to you too.
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit about where you are in your health journey right now.
Well, right now, I'm starting into my senior years, and I know as you get older and older, it's harder and harder to lose weight. And at one time, I lost over 50 pounds, got down to like 145 pounds, and then I just thought to myself, well, I can lighten up a little bit, I can slow down my losing, and it piled back on 30, 40 pounds. I didn't gain back all the weight, thank goodness. But I I need I'm taking high blood pressure medication. I'd like to get off that. I'd like to prevent diabetes, just the age decline, aches and pains that you get when you're older. I'd like to get those not be as bad and take longer to get them and all those sorts of things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much easier to put that weight back on than take it off, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah. And really that focus on that health, seeing if you can get healthier, come off the blood pressure medication, prevent diabetes, just that sort of what we see people when they get older, that decline in health, sort of preventing or slowing that down.
Right.
And so much of that is within our control with food or exercise. We can't completely control everything, but we do have a lot of control over some things. And so, what would this mean to you as you're getting older if you could get off medication, if you could prevent diabetes, if you could be stronger and healthier and move around? What would that mean to you?
Being more active longer, being able to enjoy. I have a granddaughter now who's 14, so as she gets older and maybe has children of her own, I could interact with my great grandchildren still for a little while at least and be healthy for them, not be, tied up with old age infirmities as for as long as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost in the sense of them not having to take care of you because you're having health troubles.
Definitely. I'm a health care giver. I do in-home care right now, and I see a lot of that. So,
Yeah. And on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being super high, how important is this to you right now to sort of get healthy and take these steps to be healthier?
well, when I think about it, it's a 10. But then when I'm faced with choices of foods and sugar cravings, sometimes it diminishes. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
hard.
Absolutely. And I think that's good that your desire is that 10. This is something you really want. So you want to hold on to that. Now we have those troubles where we have sugar cravings or events or different things that come up that you're acting in old patterns and old habits that you have, and those are hard to change. But you can do that. But know that you have this strong desire. Keep that desire there. Know that it's going to be a bumpy road, but you can do this. Because I think it's important to always know, like, how strong is that desire for this? Because we do want that strong desire because it will help you to make those changes that you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, what is realistic for you to achieve in your health in the next 3 months? So, it could be a habit, it could be something subjective. It doesn't have to be like objective data. What would you like to achieve?
Um, well, definitely some weight loss, and being less stiff in my head, especially in my hips. I get stiff in my hips. I don't know if that's from, I've heard that you can get, oh, what do they call it? Anyway, that eating sugars and carbohydrates can add stiffness to you.
Hmm.
I'd like to know if you can confirm that or if that's true.
A sugar can definitely cause inflammation in the body. So,
Information I'm
I
looking
could see
for.
possibly that inflammation can definitely cause different aches and pains in people. But sugar is definitely an inflammatory food, and even foods that are like quick carbohydrates, like breads, crackers, chips, those other carbs that spike our blood sugar really fast, those can also cause inflammation too.
Okay.
So you want to lose weight, you want to be less stiff. Any other goals that you have? Like maybe is there walking a certain distance or walking and it feeling easier or going upstairs or anything like that?
Well, definitely. I live upstairs in my house, and it'd be nice to be easier to go up the stairs. I always let my husband go up the stairs first because he's faster at it. I've had this goal of, we have a very long driveway, and I've had this goal of walking 5 times up and down the driveway every day, which I haven't managed to do. Sometimes I do, but I, schedule is variable, so it's hard to get that in sometimes.
And then so trying to do that walking up and down your driveway, it doesn't always happen. Are you doing any other exercise or walking?
No, not really. Well, I do work at a bakery too, where I'm doing dishes and walking around and getting some physical activity at the bakery, just doing dishes and
Yeah.
cleaning up and
And did you say you also do in-home health too?
yeah, but that's well, there's some walking involved in some of the assisted living places I go into that there's long hallways to walk down to get to the residents, and but my other client is unable to get around. So I take care of him in his own home. So not much exercise there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like one area to sort of start in is working on getting some more, and it might be even good. So I differentiate between exercise and movement. So movement is just sort of getting our steps in and walking. Exercise would be like where we are strength training and we're feeling that burn in our muscles or we're getting our heart rate up really high. So for you, it sort of seems like maybe this first step is just increasing the amount of movement or steps you're doing a day. Do
Yeah,
you, yeah. And is that something you want to do?
I would like that. Yeah, it definitely help keep my muscles strength up, maybe even build a little muscle and help slow the decline of old age. Um,
Yeah.
Keeping strong.
Yeah. And I always like to have it where we're not overwhelmed with making so many changes at once. So maybe for you, it's going to be starting with this movement piece and getting more steps in. And maybe you're getting that down and that feels good after 6 months. And then it might be adding some strength training in where we are actually strength training those muscles and doing squats, working our arms and really working on building that muscle mass. Because as you get older and older, you want to have a good amount of muscle mass because we see as people get really old and maybe towards the end of their life, they're even if you have fat on you, you're losing that muscle mass and you're getting thinner and thinner, you're getting weaker and weaker, your balance is getting worse because you're losing that muscle mass. So we also want to have that specific strength training in to build our muscles. But for you, maybe it sounds like let's start with just getting more movement in first and then maybe add that strength training in down the line. Because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves with trying to do too much at once.
Now, with strength training, are you talking about going to a facility or are you talking about getting things for your home to do strength training or what does that look like?
Yep, you can do it either way. So I mostly just do it at home. So you could have hand weights at home. You can even do body weight exercises. So even like yoga for strength training is a great way to do body weight strength training. But you can use hand weights, you can use bands. So you can do it all at home. You don't need a gym or any super special equipment to do it. So let's narrow in just real quick on the movement piece. And I loved your idea that you would like to do sort of going up and down your driveway 5 times a day. And so what has gotten in the way of you doing that?
It's not really putting it on a schedule, but it's hard to have a schedule when your schedule changes frequently because I don't have the same clients the same times every day. So it's easy to just forget about it and not think about it.
Yeah. And I'll sort of throw out some ideas and you tell me if any of these might work for you. So one is, and I don't know your schedule, like maybe we could just like say every morning and every evening I'm going to do these walks, or looking at your schedule for that day or for that week and literally creating a time block on your calendar to do the walks. Do you think either of those could work for you?
I think the second one more likely would work for me.
And
Just
so would you
schedule it ahead of time.
Yeah, and would you do that each day to look, or do you know your schedule for the whole week?
Generally, I know my schedule for the whole week. Yeah. So I can like write down in a journal at the beginning of the week this time as a reminder, just as a reminder to do it.
Absolutely. Okay. And do you use a paper calendar or Google Calendar, anything like that?
Paper.
Paper. Okay.
But I have a journal. I was starting to keep a food journal. I could start to do a journal for a walking journal. I could do a
Yeah.
walking journal.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just make sure however your brain organizes information, like, have that little time block. This is my time block to walk. And just sort of reminding yourself, like, this is important. I want to feel better. I want to walk faster. I want to be able to go up those stairs a little bit better. So, this is that first step towards doing it. And it might even be if you create it more as a journal, you can maybe you're even going to start at 3 or 4 laps of your driveway and then maybe work up to that 5, and maybe you'll get to 6. So, that might also be a way to see that you're able to increase, and it becomes easier and easier too.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Any questions about that part?
No, that sounds like a good plan.
Okay. And just notice that if you're doing that and you're struggling or it's not happening, just like come back like, okay, like what's going off track? Like what can I do? What can I brainstorm? Because so many people, if we're not successful with something, we give up on it. But when really we just needed to take a breath and we needed to just reassess and figure out a different plan. So
Right.
whether that happens with that or something else, always keep that in mind. Like, okay, I don't need to give up. Maybe I just need to reassess and figure out how I can make this work. Like, what's going wrong?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Yeah. All right. So let's go. I know you mentioned to me that a big struggle is sort of sticking with your eating plan around your family. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, after dinner and or go to the store and was thinking, well, what do we have for dinner? And then someone will buy something to go with dinner, like garlic bread or something like that, that has a lot of sugar and 'cause in the bread because it turns into sugar in your system,
Mm-hmm.
and the high calories is the butter and stuff. So then it's all too easy to have some with them instead of sticking to my plan. That sort of thing.
Yeah. And so it's eating more than you really need.
Yeah,
Yeah. And you're exactly right. Like the bread, the crackers, the chips, all that stuff is a quick carb. It turns into sugar in our bloodstream. So we want to focus as much as we can on those healthy foods, the protein, the fruits, the vegetables, the non-starchy ones. Okay. So you're maybe at dinner, or people have brought more to dinner, and there's carbs or other things that seem tasty, but aren't good for your body right now. Is
like
that
white rice.
rice? Yeah. And tell me, how does your body do better with eating what kind of foods?
Well, I know when I was losing weight and feeling better, I got down to almost what I my goal weight, and I was cutting out sugar and bread and pasta and rice and potatoes, that sort of thing. And I don't know, it's hard to get back into that zone again of I don't know what the difficulty is, except maybe that my body thinks I need that, even though I don't need it.
Yeah. And when you did that before, having less sugar, less carbs, did you feel better too?
I sure felt better about myself.
And you also have this evidence that you've done this before and that you
I
can do it. Yeah.
was up to 220 pounds, so that was significant.
Yeah. And so, sort of imagining yourself like at the dinner table and your family is eating these other things that aren't the best for you and that you would prefer not to eat, but you sort of like go along with what everybody else is there. You see it and you want to eat it.
Right.
Okay. So I want you to think, are there other areas in your life where you don't do what other people are doing? So I'll give you some examples. So sometimes if I see people drinking alcohol, I may not drink. Or like sometimes I might parent my kids differently than someone else around me. Or I might eat differently at a holiday party than people around me. So are there other areas of your life where you don't do what others are doing?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything right now.
That's okay. That's sort of a harder question. And do you think that's something you're capable of? That you can, if you think it's the right thing, you can do something different than those around you?
Well, there was a time when we had that mad cow scare that I
Hmm.
decided I wasn't going to eat any beef until I thought that it was safe. So I didn't eat beef for like 2 years because I just didn't feel safe eating beef.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's a good example. So I want you to keep that in your mind because sometimes it helps us to use like evidence of our past, even though it's like a different situation, but we're using that evidence of the past that I have done things that others aren't doing because I feel like that's what's best for me.
Mm.
So we can apply that same skill and that same thought process to something else. So I want you to think if you're at the dinner table and let's say someone brings that garlic bread, but you know that that you're not hungry and it's not good for your body. You can tell me first, how are you currently feeling when you're seeing like that garlic bread on the table that you're no longer hungry, but you still want to grab it?
What am I thinking?
Start first with what are you feeling? Like an emotion, like you're feeling an urge, you're feeling a little anxious, or you're feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm feeling a desire to follow along with everyone else so that I can taste it, I guess.
And do you think
Uh,
there's any other thoughts in there? Like a lot of times we don't necessarily like notice these thoughts, but that's why I'm asking you now. So if you're seeing that piece of garlic bread, what are you thinking? Like, I want this, it's good.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking that I want this.
Okay, perfect. So right now we have this desire to have it. Like, I just want to follow along. I want to taste this. I want this. And then the action is that you grab it and you eat it. So that's sort of currently what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to change this into an intentional process because we have these habits built in our brain. So that's just a strong habit for you. It's like the food is there. You're not even like probably consciously thinking many of these thoughts, but it's like, okay, it's there. I want it and it looks good. And I just go ahead and grab it. So we want to start to break that process. So the first thing will be to maybe prep yourself a little bit ahead of time, or when you see that garlic bread or that rice on the table, like to just pause and take a deep breath so that you can tap into your prefrontal cortex. So I'm pointing to my forehead because that's where it's the higher part of our brain, that higher amount of thinking. Otherwise, we're just reacting from our emotional brain. So, like, I want it, I get it, and I grab it. So, that's just coming straight from our emotional brain. But we can use and build a network to be able to use that prefrontal cortex, that higher thinking brain. But we have to have it online. So, sometimes pausing and taking that breath, getting out of that emotional brain and into that thinking brain can be helpful. So, in an ideal situation, if you see that garlic bread on the table, but you know that you're not going to eat it because it's not good for you, like, how would you want to feel? Would you want to feel like peace or calm?
I want to feel like one thing, proud of myself and happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, wanting to feel proud or happy, like, I can see this garlic bread and I can be happy, like, because I don't have to have it. I can feel proud of myself for showing that self-control. Now, so if you're not going to eat the garlic bread and grab it, and you want to feel proud of yourself, if you want to feel happy, maybe just like a sense of calm, what would you have to be thinking in your mind? Because we have a circumstance. So our circumstance here is garlic bread's on the table and you're not hungry, you don't need it. And so we can go down that path we talked about where we think that, oh, I just want this, I grab it and I eat it. Or we're going to create this new pathway. And so we have to think something differently to be able to feel proud, to be able to feel that calm, and then to do that action step of not grabbing that piece of bread. So, what do you need to be thinking in your mind that would make you feel proud and happy and not want to reach for that bread?
I'm going to meet my goals and be healthy.
Perfect. So, I'm going to meet my goals and be healthy. And I'll throw out a few more and tell me if these stick. If they don't, that's totally okay. You could also add to that and maybe think like, I don't really need this bread. I'm no longer hungry. It's okay for these other people around me to eat the bread and not me. So did any of those stick? And it's okay if they didn't.
Yeah, I can say I don't need this. I'm not hungry. Maybe I can have a cup of tea instead. Just, I don't have sugar in my tea, so that would be something satisfying.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I can have a cup of tea. I don't need this. I'm not hungry. So you're able to tune into your body. Because again, we have to watch. And so those thoughts that come up, sometimes we're not recognizing them. But now that you're doing this with me, I want you to start to become aware of those thoughts. Because if we have that thought, like, I want this, like the garlic bread just tastes good, you're going to end up grabbing it. But we can slowly start to replace those thoughts. So with these new thoughts that we're coming up with, and I'll send these to you too after this call so you
Okay,
have them, is I like to, so I have new thoughts for myself too. I do the same process for myself about different areas of my life. So I like to read these each morning, and you can even read them more than once a day. Because right now there's no network in your brain for I'm going to meet my goals and be healthy. So it's a really weak
right.
thought. So
Yeah.
saying it in the morning, looking at it maybe in the afternoon, you're going to have to repeat this to yourself to get that network stronger, to really strengthen that thought. And whenever we do something like this and we're getting in it, this is what I call an intentional thought. This is like a thought that you intentionally want instead of our brain just sort of running away with what it wants. You want to make sure the thoughts feel true. So I'm going to repeat some of these thoughts and just let me know if any of them don't feel true to you. So we had, I'm going to meet my goals and be healthy. I don't need this. I'm not hungry. Maybe I can have a cup of tea. So did all those sound true to you?
Yes, they do.
Okay, perfect. So we want to just continue to strengthen that thought outside at a calm time, like, in the morning. And then you're going to have to use that thought in the moment too. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So how does that feel?
that seems doable.
Okay, perfect. All right, friends, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode today. So we were sort of halfway through the call at this point. So stay tuned for next week where we continue to dive deeper into emotional eating, like feeling uncomfortable and being able to tolerate that and really wrapping up a few things for Sharon. And remember, if you are feeling stuck in your health journey, then set up that free coaching call with me and we can just chat about your goals and find out those missing pieces. All right, friends, keep moving and keep taking one step forward in your health.